Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is a Q&A with four artists who are participating in the Home Residency Program of the Miller-Zillmer Foundation. We'll have the occasion to meet the four artists, Francisca, Pavel, Roberto, and Pulpy. And it's the occasion for the four of them to present their work to you, and also the occasion for the audience to ask questions. So yeah, thanks for joining us.
I'm Francisca. I'm from Chile. I'm living right now in Madrid.
I'm Pavel. I'll just show my face. It's me.
Hi guys, I'm Pulpy Shilpy. I'm a musician from Pune in India.
I'm Roberto. I'm a filmmaker of the documentary variety.
So cinematographer and DOP. And I've also been developing work as an audiovisual and media artist since the past 2 or 3 years. I love to mix media, work with analog and also digital media. I work a lot with screen captures and mix them with analog films.
My city has been in lockdown, and I was in Goa when the lockdown began, and I've just sort of settled here now. I started off as a singer-songwriter. I've been playing guitar for 20 years now, and I was also a journalist for 7 years, something like that. Right now, the past 2 years, I've just been focusing on electronic music production and synthesis. I'm learning from all the free resources available online. I've had a bunch of avatars before. I had a band, and I've just been in music for as long as I can remember.
I've ascribed to a more expanded definition of documentary, so I like to experiment, and recently I've been focusing more on installations and how documentaries can kind of fit into an all-encompassing experience, visual and audio experience.
Working in fiction documentary things, and I'm also active in social issues, so operating with local NGOs or some topics that are, let's say, socially connected with contemporary family, teenagers, and so on. Yeah, I have studied in FAMU in Prague at film school, and also at Babelsberg Film School, so fiction directing. And now I'm working on my first feature films. So one is in editing phase, one is in, let's say, script phase. And so that's me. Hello, everyone.
I also experiment painting film and stuff like that. That is me.
And I'm based in Canada, and thanks for joining us today.
The journey keeps feeling like it's just begun, so I'm right at the start of everything, always. That's me,
What values or ideas have emerged as a common ground between the four of you? So I think you'd never worked, you were strangers before, right? So what has emerged in these past weeks as your common ground?
There's one thing that I find all four of us agree on is to be open, and we kind of listen to each other, and all ideas are kind of, we go forward with each idea that someone might present with the hope that it brings us a new perspective. So that's the first thing we agree on, that we agree on experimenting with whatever method thrown at us by each other.
I think also that we've learned different methodologies of working, and that has enriched our personal work. Know how to others start their creative process it's very interesting to know, because we also came from very different backgrounds. We bring very different stuff to the meetings, topics and ways of working and all that stuff.
One thing I noticed is, and this was kind of unexpected, was how everyone in the group, how open they are to trying some more playful techniques and games, and we're sort of constantly doing things that are just really fun, non-academic, loose approaches through like assorted, I don't know, everyone comes in and, I don't know, we call them jams, but they're just a place to like share different ideas and different approaches.
I also think it's like very inspiring. Like when you work with the others, you never know what comes next. You learn new things, and you learn that you can create one piece together with 4 people from totally different background. So for me, it was a discovery to learn that, and it's quite amazing.
What is the group creating?
That's a surprise.
What is the output? Are you all collaborating on a single movie or video, or what? Because you all have, like you said, different techniques and methodologies. So what exactly is coming out of the work these days?
Sometimes Francisca would come out and be like, okay, I'm reading this book. I'm going to flip through the pages. Tell me to stop. And when we say stop, the word at which we stop is the project for our week. All of us have a perspective, and then we'll have to create our own little pieces, and then we come together and sort of edit and piece it together to see what we make of it. So it's just like a lot of experimentation in the subject itself.
We've been working in like short videos, experimental ones, and we've been playing a lot. We are now preparing to create a more longer piece of work, sort of interactive website without the knowledge that we need to make it interactive, really interactive. We want to experiment also with that, how to make an interactive website without the knowledge.
It's like very playful.
Something that's been really interesting about it, actually a bit of a relief, is you don't have to ace it each week. Like maybe you have an off week, but someone else comes up with something that's amazing, and I don't know, maybe you make more of a contribution the next week. It's kind of low pressure in that way. Like it's sort of, at least I count on the group to come through, and it always has so far.
How have you been dealing as individuals and as a group with your energy levels in terms of creativity as artists, specifically during the lockdown?
I've had my down and out moments where I'm not creative at all. But luckily, it's happened to all of us at some point. So
yeah, we have here in Madrid, we have a full lockdown, and I was in a very creative moment. I was like producing a lot and having a lot of ideas, a real chance to sit and to think about my work. When Madrid opened again, my creativity started to move down.
Do you structure your work between the group? And is so, like how, in which way? How do you structure the work in the group?
now we're trying to figure out a new approach where we assign specific roles to each other. We're just trying to see how we can do that, how we can pull that off.
At the beginning, we had everyone created one piece. Then we decided that maybe it's good to try to connect the 4 pieces we have created into one. So we are thinking what to shoot and how to cooperate. So everything develops at the same time. So it's quite cool.
What can you tell us about what you see is the bigger picture of your work and your work through the foundation? What's the bigger picture?
Basically, we're four people with like a lot of influences, right? Like any four people in the world. And we are finding that there's so much in common to address and express. We're developing a methodology just as four random people in the world to sort of find a storyline. These pieces somehow make it all relatable, our own individual experiences. When we piece it together, somehow I feel like I'm able to communicate and express myself through the works of others. And it's sort of like a community that I'm a part of, which makes me feel not so alone as well. I mean, in the larger scheme of things, without the foundation, I wouldn't have done this. But the foundations enabled me to find different ways of expressing and relating, and making myself relatable to others.
And the personal transformation that's coming through the lockdown for each one of us, and now you're telling us about this growth communication that you're experiencing. That sounds really positive. What are the specific ideas that you are trying to address in the work these days? I mean, this is for any of you.
Yeah, right now I'm working on my relation with the virtual. How I can live an experience that touches me in a lot of ways virtually. I'm living here in Madrid for a year, and in October of last year, in Chile started a revolution that was strongly punished, and this has been very difficult to me, and I have to learn how to deal with all these emotions and tough feelings, because I'm not there, I'm not feeling what my friends are feeling, I'm not demonstrating with them, and I've been trying like to connect virtually with them and trying to figure it out through my work. How can I do that? How can I mix a discourse, a narrative that talks about all my feelings and things that I cannot touch right now?
So we just finished a piece which we call Franco's Last Days, based on the Spanish, dictator Franco. And it was just a rough topic. And the thing is, the way we as human beings experience conflict and tragedy is more similar than all the other cultural differences. So when we talk about a dictator, we can relate to it. We can relate to like what a dictator's rule feels like. My country is going through its own perception or its own journey of having a dictator right now, and different or tragedy or of losing somebody. So these are common topics which can unite way more than like the cultural differences or of language and of modernity or urban living or whatever. So when Francisca pulls out a picture of someone who's rebelling in her country, immediately I can provide a soundtrack for it from a speech that probably fueled a riot in my country. It all starts adding together.
The same one goes on the personal level, because we started the residency during lockdown. So I think this political and personal situation kind of mirrors in the residency, because we have to think constantly like about a new world we live in and what's going on and what will be tomorrow. So it goes hand in hand with the politics and the personal life, so that we are much more reflective about what's going on, especially because the residency has started in this period. So I think it has influenced us a lot in our work on personal and political level as well.
I think that for something that is like, and it was incredibly emotional, and for something when you're addressing a situation that is of oppression, there's no room for BS. It's like, it's just direct, it's raw, and it actually had an incredible influence on my own work. Yeah, when you have to react to being or even like lash out because you feel helpless. So politically, I guess a lot of this stuff is universal. Everyone has in one way or another, maybe if not politically, in their personal lives, have felt oppressed or, abused or, kicked around. So yeah, I think a lot of it is also quite universal, and just how to find a way to communicate these universal ideas is something that has been really great with the group. Just finding these different approaches.
Oppression, abuse, being kicked around, care and harm. That's a big one, and yeah, I think we definitely can all relate to that. We had a question from the public. I think it relates to that. In what way has the collaboration been therapeutic?
I think it's been great to be able to work in a creative way with people we didn't know, and I think that's the most therapeutical thing about the whole residence. Is like we brought on this virtual island all our problems and not problems, but things that we wanted to discuss. We wanted to create ideas. Yeah, I think it's been therapeutical.
Also, it's like I was out of work, like ever since lockdown began. Like I haven't got paid for any of the shows that I did, and it gave me a sense of purpose. Like it's really important that I wake up and I have something to do, and not just wait for payments to come in or the next gig. So this has been incredibly important for me to survive through this period of lockdown, and I feel pretty blessed.
Yeah, I would echo that. It's something that I look forward to every week, during a period where there wasn't really much to look forward to. So, and I think I mentioned it before, just feel really lucky with the makeup of the group. Just like it's just a really good group with like all sorts of different skills that I could only dream of acquiring one day. So I'm constantly learning. It reminds me of like when I was going to college, and the early first years of college, and just that kind of the newness of it. It's been great.
Yeah, I think especially in this period, it was great that the residency started in the difficult period, because it gave us like a bridge from one, time frame to the other. And probably it shows how important it is, feel like, to give opportunities to other people to like go through difficult times. So it was very, very good timing, I think, very important timing, residency.
Like back on the topic of kind of the universals and what's uniting us all across the planet, across the four of you as artists, we're talking about the political situation in the last months. There's the other component of that is the health issue, pandemic. Did the pandemic, the context of the pandemic, influence your vision about the role of the artist in the public and critical space? What new perspectives did the pandemic open or reveal or convince you in some new ways?
The residence has opened a lot of new spaces, more than the pandemic, I guess. Is like this residence in this context has opened, a lot of thoughts about how art can because I think we all have started to acknowledge that the virtual is a pretty big part of our lives. We have started like using those tools, I guess, at least in the residence. And I think in another context we haven't had the chance to meet and to try to make something virtually. That.
But we will meet eventually.
Yeah, of course. On a Greek island.
Yes.
We're going to travel together.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of traveling, in what way do the four of you see yourself going forward with the project and connecting with other artists in further programs, either with the foundation or beyond?
Well, for me, I think I probably stop while I'm ahead. Like I don't collaborate that much. Well, I have collaborated, but not in a sense where there wasn't a final say. Like the power structure was different. Here, it's just completely, everything is balanced and equal. And it's worked out in a way where I probably will just continue working in the next few months after the residency on my own, on new projects. Mm-hmm. I don't want to tarnish it. I just don't want to, like, I feel like if I start like, okay, let's keep doing this with other people, or I feel like it's just, it'd be pushing it.
What life lesson have you learned from the collaboration that we could all take home, whether we're artists or not?
I think to be more playful in our creative processes.
To move forward all the time.
The whole thing about waiting for something to happen, regardless of what you do, just stop waiting. You just keep doing, and then other things start happening. And that's something that I'm realizing. You sit around waiting for the next job to come, for the next inspiration to come, or the next collaboration to come. There's more chances of you getting stuck. But when you stop waiting, things start happening.
What would you say to people who, and this applies also to artists, and it's all of us, who are, we've got this sensation of waiting, right? With lockdown, with pandemic, things seem to be frozen in one sense, and yet changing so rapidly in the world. So I think for a lot of people, it can create a sense of a bit of like deer in the headlights. How would people get over like the sensation of waiting and do something when there is not a gig coming in, when there's not a contract? How, I think as artists sometimes we've done it, but not everybody's had that experience of being an artist at home. Like with how could people, what's the mindset?
When the question came up about how the pandemic is affecting, I mean, for me, it's a very different setting. Everyone around me is pretty fucked, and I got really lucky that I got this gig in my context that's kept me going for the last 2 months, or 3 months, and I feel very lucky. At the same time, I feel really guilty also that I've been removed from my community, like, of everyone else who's suffering, and I'm not part of that conversation at this moment to relate to finding solutions. I've been so pleased with having found a solution, temporary solution for myself, that I'm almost deluded into thinking that this is something more permanent, But I do acknowledge that it's not a question of waiting. Things have changed. So we can't expect to go back to the way, at least in my country, you can't expect for everything to just start again. It's not going to happen. There's a big change, and the sooner we accept it, then we can figure out how to move forward.
I've been, some of the things that have given me the most amount of thrills is, things like traveling and meeting new people and, having face-to-face conversations, and suddenly that was just eliminated. And you're just like, I will not be getting any kind of, that's just gone, it's erased. So for me, I've just kind of scaled down. I've found pleasure from like small things like having a small cake delivered from like a local bad bakery and seeing how badly they could screw it up each time, like, and that gives me at least some kind of momentary bliss. And then just smaller things, like I'm just observing my cat a lot. Cat's like gazing out at nothing for hours on end, and I would think that I wish I could, and I should try to return to that in some kind of way, like quiet moments, moments where you're not busily doing something at like an insane pace.
Have you heard that that meme going on that everything is cake? If anything were possible overnight, how would you like your work to be? What impact would you like your work to have? If anything's possible overnight, where's this work collaboration go? What does it do? What does it achieve?
I think that we want the pieces that we've made to be shown, that the people that watch it can relate and can like find an inspiration to make something or talk about something or think, to have an impact on the ones that watch what we've done.
And I think we've always discussed about how we want this to be a growing piece. So if that virtual galleries template, we manage to have that, manage to achieve that, then we can keep adding pieces and get more people to come in and contribute and watch this piece keep growing, and these methods keep developing. Actually have a virtual gallery, interactive gallery.
Yeah, that is one of the advantages of working virtual online as our space to present our work. It's very amenable to evolution and collaboration in time. That actually is super interesting.
Yeah, the Gori said a great thing, that if we started in 4, and if the residency by the end, if it grows public, if we take on more people, if we make it available, so that from 4 we go to 40, to even more, then I think it will be a great result. So that the residency kind of expands to public, we take on more people and more opportunities for artists and so on. So it would be great.
Yeah, that would be absolutely fascinating. The same way the work, the 4 of you already in the first QA video and from your description now, is this interaction and this amalgamation as a group. Yeah. Be fascinating if moving forward other groups create their own and then it interacts. We get bigger levels of organization between the groups and between them. That'd be fascinating. I love
like a snowball. If
I love the vision. Love the feeling.
Yeah.
I think everyone, I would just echo what everyone said. I think everyone really covered it perfectly.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Nicolas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.